Good afternoon, everyone, or I guess good morning, depending on where you are. I'm going to give everybody a minute to filter in. Welcome, welcome, welcome to our monthly tax talk. This is Tax Talk Vacation Edition. So I'm at the lake house this week and we are on our own administratively today. So you're all going to have to bear with my technical capabilities. Our insightful team is at ZeroCon. So if you are not at ZeroCon and you're missing that content, not to worry, because I'm sure we're going to have some exciting updates for you in the next couple of weeks of everything that they took away from that conference. So I'm just going to give everybody a minute to filter in and then we will get started. While we are doing that, actually, I will pop open the chat box and I will get the slide deck uploaded for everyone. Let's see. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Sorry, guys, I have a hard time talking and doing at the same time, but that's okay. We're going to get the slide deck uploaded for you. Okay, so I'm going to give that just a minute. Perfect. So if you are just joining us, the slide deck for today's tax talk has been put into the webinar chat. So feel free to go ahead and grab that PDF so that you have the slides from today's chat. If you missed it, as I mentioned, our insightful team is at ZeroCon and they will have some updates as to how that conference went in the next couple of weeks. And we're just going to be on our own. I don't have a question of the day prepared to ask myself today. So we're just going to jump into everything. But just as a reminder, if this is the first time that you're joining us for a tax talk, this is only a half an hour, so we do not offer any CPE. So there's no polling questions, no CPE. We're just going to do a quick little chat, lunchtime chat, depending on where you are, maybe a brunch chat for everyone. And let me just get everything rolling here. So let's see, get our slides up. If you want to go ahead and grab the slide deck from that chat, you can grab your copy. I'm going to share my screen and then I will get the slides actually open for our presentation today. Okay. And then I'm going to do my best also to try to keep an eye on the Q&A. You guys will have to kind of bear with me because, like I said, we don't have our fearless leader today. We don't have our host today. I am at the lake house on vacation. So we're just going to roll with all the tech to the best of our ability. I will do my best to keep an eye on the Q&A, but don't worry, I will make sure that I leave a few minutes at the end. So if we don't get to your questions as we're going through today, I will make sure that I address everybody's questions at the end of the presentation as well. So welcome to today's tax talk. We do these every other month. Today's topic is going to be on tax technology for this upcoming tax season. I know it sounds like a terrible thing that we're talking about tax season in the middle of this beautiful summer month of August, but importantly, it's time to start planning what changes you may need to make in your practice before tax season hits. And we'll talk about implementing technology, et cetera. But that's what today's topic is going to be on, is what's the latest and greatest in technology to help you have an efficient, non-burnout consuming style tax season this year. So if you are joining us for the first time and you are not currently subscribed to Tax Practice News, make sure that you go ahead and take a minute and do that so that you don't miss out on announcements for future articles, information, our next webinar that we're hosting, etc. If I have not had a chance to meet you personally, my name is Christine Gervais. I've been a licensed CPA for almost 15 years. I've been running my own practice for almost 10. So our practice is what I would consider to be a smaller CPA practice. We do offer traditional services, but we do focus primarily on tax preparation for small businesses. And I've been doing that for a number of years. So a lot of the technology that we'll talk about today, and in most of my webinars, I'm focusing on those smaller to medium-sized practices, trying to find things that are really going to help drive your efficiency and also not break your budget. So things that we would actually be able to implement in our practice as well. And that's going to be our perspective today. And my contact information will also be at the end. So again, don't worry if we don't get to your questions right away. I will answer those at the end, and I will also make sure that you have my contact information if you have any follow-up questions that I can answer for you. So in talking about tax technology, this was a quote from the e-Journal of Tax Research saying tax authorities worldwide are harnessing technologies to improve tax administration, counter fraud, and facilitate taxpayer compliance. We are seeing that with the IRS, I guess, regardless of your feelings on the IRS. Rihanna, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. The slides are in the chat. So if you hit the chat box, there should be a PDF right at the top of that chat. And at the end, I can pop them in there for you one more time, but there's a PDF right in the chat for you to download. They will also be sent out to you post-webinar. So keep that in mind that they will be sent out to you post-webinar. Okay, chat is disabled. Let me see if I can pop those in one more time. Give me 1 second. Okay, I'm going to do that at the end just so that I don't take too much time there, but I will pop those slides in at the end for you, and we will make sure that they will get sent out to you email as well after the webinar. So if you aren't able to grab them in the chat right now, don't worry too much about it because we will make sure that they get emailed out to you, but I will try popping them in there for you one more time at the end as well. So we are seeing some technological changes with the IRS. We could all probably get into our opinions on working with the IRS and what that experience is like, but there is some efforts being made to improve the technology that is going to help facilitate administration, counter fraud, make that taxpayer compliance easier. We're seeing it with things now where practitioners are able to upload automatically through the IRS online system copies of powers of attorneys, forms, we're able to request transcripts. There are some things that are happening to make things easier to do electronically and cut down on the old school methodology of mailing, faxing, and waiting for things. And so this isn't just a United States thing, this is a global effort. We're seeing this across the board in terms of trying to make this entire process be both more efficient as well as secure at the same time. We've seen over the last decade significant changes coming from the IRS in terms of countering fraud with the e-file system, requiring taxpayer identification numbers and things like that. So this is not a train that we're going to see stop. We're definitely going to see technology continue to be extremely prevalent in the tax world, both from the practitioner side as well from the tax authority side. And our clients are expecting it from us too. So I don't think that it's any surprise when we talk about technology to talk about how AI is going to be affecting or already is affecting tax practices. This is a technology that you are going to only see more and more of. And I will just pause for a really quick second and give you some information and a plug for two different things that we have going on. If you are not a member of the Insightful premium content section yet, go out to Insightful Accountant's website and check out that premium content section. So one of the things that I am specifically working on, there's a bunch of different content in there. We have some different tracks, you know, not just tax, bookkeeping, marketing, some really great stuff in there right now. But the tax track for the next couple of months is going to be focused on a really deep dive of technology identification as well as technology implementation into your practice. So if you're getting a little bit out of today, but you would really like to see a deeper dive into, you know, suggestions for technology. How do you implement it? How do you do that compliantly? If you're really looking to move the bar in terms of technology implementation in your practice, highly recommend that you go check out that premium content because we're going to be doing some really hands-on work with that over the next couple of months. There's already a white paper in there as well as an implementation checklist that you can download as a premium content member. The other thing that you're going to want to keep your eyes out for is the September Future Forward that we will be doing. So my session is specifically going to be on AI tax technology. So AI and tax practices, that will be one whole session during the September Future Forward. So if you're not registered for that, that link is also live on the Insightful Accountant website. So that will be a lot more information than we're just going to get in this little snippet here today. So if either one of those things are sounding like they're a good fit for you, go ahead and get yourself registered for those. So one of the things I talked about recently in my premium content webinar talking about AI and technology implementation for our practices is all of the different technology that you may already be using that now has a new AI component. So there are a lot of softwares that you might already be using in your practice that actually are building AI components into them, and you may not even know it, and you just may not be utilizing those to the fullest extent yet because you don't know that they're there. So there are things, QuickBooks, a lot of the tax softwares are building in some of these AI components, and the awareness of tools that you already have available to you is a great opportunity to build some of that technology into your everyday practice without having to edit your budget at all, because it's software that you already have in place. But some kind of key AI technology to be aware of that we have up here, Thomson Reuters has a new research tool that is AI driven. So if you have not used Thomson Reuters in the past, or you're not currently using it for your tax research, it's an incredibly powerful tax database, probably arguably one of the best in terms of tax research. And they have developed an AI tool that is basically working in conjunction with their database to improve that research function. So that is one way that we're seeing AI affect tax practices. Highly recommend that tool, especially if you have a team of people in your practice and it's not just you. That tool can be highly effective to guiding and improving their research quality. Tax Planet IQ is a tax planning software that uses AI to help to improve tax planning strategy and suggestions for your clients. So if you're a practice that's offering tax planning and strategy services and you're looking for tools to make that process more efficient, Tax Plan IQ would be an example of one of those tools where you're able to essentially upload prior year tax returns for your clients, and you're going to see some auto suggestion using that AI technology to write some suggested tax planning strategies for your clients, and then of course give them a nice deliverable as part of your tax planning services. Stanford Tax is a new one. I love this one. I know we'll be talking about them during the Future Forward session as well. I'm excited to implement them into our practice this year. So the thing that Stanford Tax is doing, which I am just super thrilled about, is they use AI to essentially read your clients' prior year tax returns and auto recommend to them the data that they need to provide to you for this year's tax return. So I'll just give you a quick example. Let's say your client had 3 different W-2s last year. Rather than you sending out just a generic organizer that says, send us your W-2s, send us your 1099s, we all know how that goes. If when you send that generic checklist to your clients, you're going to get a generic response back, and it's probably going to be missing stuff. And I've done a couple of sessions where we've done polls on things, and people have said that data collection is one of the most time-consuming parts of your tax season. So Stanford Tax aims to cut down on that data reduction time by not just asking your clients to send their W-2s, to send their 1099s, but actually names them based off of last year's tax return. So it will say, you had a W-2 from ABC company last year. Did you upload that? Or there's a section where your client can say, I don't have it again this year. You had a 1099 from Wells Fargo, Bank of America, and Citizens Bank, and it will actually direct your client specifically to the things that they need to send you based off of last year's return. So that's something that we've frequently seen tax practitioners ask for, as well as clients ask for, very specific pointed lists. And that software helps you to give them that very specific pointed list, and you're not having to custom create that by client. It's using that AI technology to read those returns for you. So check that one out. I believe that they will still let you trial that software, I think, for up to 5 returns for free. So that's something that you can be trialing right now leading up to tax season to see if that's something that's going to be a good fit for your practice. Tax GPT is fairly new. I think that they're charging around $1,000 a year for their subscription. So that's cheaper than the Thomson Reuters research database, just as a budget comparison. But Tax GPT is supposed to function very similar to Chat GPT, if you will. If you've been someone that has used something like Chat GPT, it's meant to be a research tool. But it's all tax focused. So the idea there is that the learning portion of the AI behind Tax GPT is going to be focused on absorbing as much tax knowledge as possible. So that's a tool that these are all driven by AI. And the idea is that the responses that you're getting are a little bit more strategic thought focused as opposed to just having a Google response, if you will. So moving on to very pointed answers for you as to best in tax preparation technology for this year. These ones, I will tell you, we use ProSeries in our practice. I've used some of the others in the past, so I have a little bit of firsthand experience with some of these other ones. Everybody loves something different. In terms of reviews on the marketplace, what people are saying is out there is the best and the features that they like the best. These are the 4 best in prep technology for this upcoming tax season, and just some bullet points on each one as to why they are suggested. So Lacerte, still very popular. The biggest reason being that it's easy to use, easy data entry. That flat input worksheet basically just means that you're inputting your numbers directly into one spot. You're not having to toggle between multiple screens. They do have a tiered pricing model, so that makes it easier depending on the size of your practice and the number of returns that you are preparing to find a good budget fit for your practice. Missing client data utility is really nice because that will highlight for you, again, that data collection process is time consuming, makes it easy for you to highlight what it is that you're missing. And then of course, automatic calculations, with I think most of these have at this point. It just varies in terms of which calculations are automated and which ones aren't. Drake is still popular. Drake has quite a few accounting integrations in terms of being able to easily pull data in from other sources and not having to hand key data. They also offer 1099 preparation assistance. Drake is still the lowest price point in terms of what at least I'm presenting here today. So if you're looking for the most budget-friendly option, Drake is probably a good fit for you. ProSeries, the reason that we're using this is a lot around the multi-user access. I think it's the most budget-friendly option when we've got multiple team members and having to have access to the software. They do offer e-file management. Smart Vault integration is document management, so that can be helpful if you don't currently have an integrated document management software that you are also using in your practice. ProSeries also has Intuit integration, so you do have the option to bring QuickBooks information directly into your ProSeries tax return. So depending on how you operate in your practice, if that's something that you're looking for, that is an option with ProSeries. And then CCH Axcess, this is definitely a more all-encompassing piece of software. It's going to probably be the highest price point of any of these options, at least that I'm presenting here today, but it is a complete workflow solution. So what I mean by that is that you do have workpaper integration in there, tick tie capabilities where you can actually be preparing your work papers right into the software and have them be tied out directly to the tax return, offers client communication right in its own portal. So if you don't have a separate client portal, you're able to easily do that right within Axcess. Also includes that e-file management. They also have integrated BOI reporting. So if your clients are small businesses still kind of trying to figure out what's going on with this BOI reporting thing, or that they are looking for you to help them with that annual submission going forward, integrated right into CCH Axcess. So of course, there's also other options out in the market, but again, in terms of looking at the reviews, what's out there, what practitioners are saying, using, etc., these 4 are kind of still in those top key categories in terms of preparation software for you. And the goal here is just to be thinking about as much automation as possible. The design behind implementation of tax technology is that we want to be looking for things that are going to be cutting down on your manual processes and procedures and essentially making your life easier for tax season. So you want something that is going to help you to have more electronic work papers, more electronic data collection, because more electronic data collection means that your work papers are easier to create. You have a better opportunity to do work paper integration directly into the tax software. And then that, of course, also sets you up for easier e-file management. You can collect your signatures electronically, maintain everything electronically. So we're trying to give you some options that are going to create that complete electronic workflow with some automations involved and cut down on that manual labor. So bonus apps for efficiency inside of practice. So these might not necessarily be very, very tax specific, but just things to kind of keep in mind if these pertain to your practice that, again, are just going to drive some efficiency for you. I know we've talked about Canopy on other webinars. So Canopy is a great, more of a customer management system, more of a client portal, has document management. You can also do time tracking, work paper preparation. One of Canopy's key features that they've promoted is the ability to request and pull transcripts directly from the IRS into the Canopy software. So that's a feature that's really nice, especially if you are a practice that has a high volume of tax returns. I know that we personally have seen a lot of issues in terms of back and forth communication with the IRS in recent years. A lot of things kind of getting crossed between departments, not getting processed properly, a lot of back and forth IRS communication, and it helps, especially when you're bringing on new clients, to be able to actually pull transcripts sometimes and see what actually is on record with the IRS. So Canopy has that feature integrated directly into it. I know there are some other CRMs that are working on doing that as well. Corvi and Tax Planner Pro, both great tax planning pieces of software. So if you're looking, or if you're offering tax planning and strategy services, again, if you're looking for something that's going to help you to write some strategy that offers some technology integration where you can bring in a prior year tax return for a client, run it through these softwares. It will make suggestions and recommendations, and it will print out for you some really beautiful reports that you can then present to your clients. So I think that having that deliverable sometimes in a tax planning or strategy service is really helpful, because those services, a lot of times, they don't feel tangible to our clients. I recognize that it's our time and our expertise, but there's no real product being delivered to our client. So when you can put a nice, beautiful report in front of them that gives them the tax planning recommendations for them to go over and consider, and they're able to walk away from a meeting with something physical that they could then maybe, take to their estate planning lawyer or take to their financial advisor, that, helps to really boost that perception of value in tax planning services. So if that's something that you're offering, that will also help cut down on your time in preparing for those tax planning meetings. But those are softwares that I do highly recommend if you're considering, or if you've been looking for something like that. You absolutely want to have an implementation plan for those prior to tax season, because you want the time to get your clients' information uploaded into those softwares so that when tax season comes, you're able to really just hit the ground running in terms of producing those documents for your clients. And then if you're if you're offering sales and excise tax services, if you're doing any type of sales tax preparation, if you're a practice that has a lot of businesses that are doing retail, any type of online sales of actual physical products, things like that, Avalara is hugely helpful for sales tax management. So that would be another tool that I would say take a look at that for helping to automate and cut down your manual time spent on any type of sales tax management services. I know not everybody offers those, but Avalara is still, highly recommended for that. So processes to automate, these are processes that you just want to take a look at from an internal perspective in your practice before tax season. So we talked about data entry and integration. How much time are you and your team actually spending manually putting data into your tax returns? If it's a lot, what are some tools that you could be using to make that process shorter? Are you fully using integration between bookkeeping and tax software, or from your work paper preparation directly into tax software? There are, I would say, outside of just bookkeeping softwares, there's some other kind of middle tools out there that you can use that help you to do your work paper creation. And you can actually integrate directly from that work paper creation, using things like tax tags, et cetera, in bookkeeping software to help manage the time that it is taking to implement financial statements directly into the tax software. I also think that that helps, those automated tools help to create a lot of consistency year over year. So where you might have someone, grouping expense accounts one way one year and then a different way the next year, which can slow down your review process. Those types of tools help to provide that consistency. You should be looking to automate your e-file signatures. You should have an automated process to when does that request get sent out to your client? How does it come back in? That should all be done electronically. How are we maintaining those? So you can spend a lot of time just simply going back and forth. Tax returns already ready to go. We're just waiting on client signatures. We have to collect them. We have to maintain them. That process to move a tax return from actually being drafted to your client to actually being electronically filed and kind of putting your pretty bow on it at the end can be very time consuming, especially if that is a very manual process for your practice. So take the time to look at how you can automate that particular process inside of your practice. Client communication. I said this in our premium content webinar last month. You actually want to be looking at ways to cut down on your client communication. And what I mean by that is I really mean quality over quantity. The time that you spend talking to your clients, you want to be like very valuable to them. There should be a value add in those conversations. You really want to be working to cut down the amount of times that you're communicating with your clients for things like data collection, e-file signatures, et cetera. There's not a lot of value add there. You're doing them out of necessity, but they're time consuming. So looking at ways to improve that value of client communication and cut down on how many times we have to go back and forth to get the things that we need for tax return preparation. Same thing with document collection. You want to make it as easy as possible to retrieve things from your clients. You should be looking at portals, CRMs, document collection processes. Everything should be electronic. I don't encourage clients to be sending us pictures of things from their phone. You don't want people texting you and things like that. But a lot of client portals out there now have the feature, have an app that they can use. We use TaxDome in our practice, and I know that they have this. I believe Canopy does too, where your clients can have the app on their phone and they can take pictures of documents and securely upload them to you. So taking out that mailing, scanning, faxing feature is going to help improve the time that you're receiving documents from your clients, how quickly you're getting those, and it will help cut down that data collection process. Look at automating your invoicing for your clients. Look at automating your IRS communication. So we did 2 months ago, the last tax talk was on managing accounts receivable. So we talked a lot about automating your invoicing in that tax talk. That should be up on our YouTube channel. So if you missed that one and you want some more information on how to cut down the time that you're spending on your invoicing, highly recommend you go take a look at that. And then IRS communication. We are going to be talking about that more as well in the premium content, how to take advantage of that. But if you're not currently registered with the IRS website, to be able to be filing your power of attorney forms, requesting transcripts, things like that electronically online, highly recommend that you work on that process as well. And then that link right there to the access the premium content, that will be a live link when you get the slide deck. So we have about 60 seconds left. I'm going to just pause right there and see if there's any questions. I know I didn't see anything pop up while we were chatting. And then let me actually, I'm going to stop sharing my screen for just a second. And let me see if I can get these slides uploaded to you one more time. Okay, so those are uploading to everyone. Let me know if you still cannot see the slide deck PDF in the chat. And again, if you can't grab those in the chat, we will send the slide deck out to everyone after the webinar. So you will get a follow-up. The recording of this will be available. The slide deck will be available. The live link is in there for the premium content, if that's something that you're interested in. And I will just pop in and share my screen for one more second so that I can give you all my contact information as well. So again, if you have any follow-up questions, anything comes to mind, or if you didn't receive the slide deck and the recording post-webinar, please feel free to let me know. And I hope to see you all next month at our Future Forward session, where we're talking more about AI tax technology. Awesome. Perfect. Thank you. All right. So that seems like that slide deck is in there. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate your time. Have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you at Future Forward next month.